Happy Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. How is everybody doing out there? Hope y'all are doing well. I just got finished working out and hopped in the shower, and I am here to chat it up with y'all just for a little bit. Did you catch the premiere of my 1 year student loan payoff update? I'm so excited. I felt like I just relived that moment all over again. It just premiered just a little minute ago on my channel. Be sure to go and check it out, y'all. Drop your girl a comment, any questions over there, a like, a share. And as you're coming on, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate your support. I'm looking for my notes, y'all. Oh, here they are over here. Y'all know I always got to have my notes when I'm talking to y'all so I don't forget anything. But you can expect for me to be going live after my videos premiere. So typically Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays is a little self-care and fun. We just came off a self-care Saturday this past Saturday, and I did a strawberry probiotic mask. I was like, okay. And that went pretty good. So y'all be sure to hop on live with your girl after my videos premiere. Catch up and see what I'm doing on Saturdays. This Saturday I probably will go live because I have some plans and I'm going to do a cute makeup look. So y'all definitely tune in for that. It'll be a little different than self-care. Oh, y'all, my face just been breaking out. But yes, guys, it's been 1 year. I'm coming up soon here on 1 year of my debt-free anniversary. And I am just so excited to share it with y'all and to give y'all some tips. If you want to be debt-free, if you're trying to pay off them student loans, y'all, if you ain't trying to wait till the 28th of this month for the Supreme Court to take on this case, then listen, you might want to try these tips to pay off your student loans. But yeah, y'all. Oh, also be sure to follow me on social media at Alexis Dugan on Facebook. I actually just got stars on Facebook today. I'm so excited. So y'all be sure to head over to my Facebook, Alexis Dugan. Follow me on Facebook, and you can send me stars. So y'all send your girl some stars. I greatly appreciate all of your support. It helps me out tremendously. So thanks, y'all. And follow me on social media on Instagram, Miss Dugan09, as well as I'm on Facebook at Miss Dugan09 as well. So y'all follow me over there. But yeah, let's get into it, y'all. So in case you don't know, just a quick little, update or follow up in case you're new to my channel. I am debt free. I owe nothing to no one but to love them, and I ain't got to do that if I don't want to. But I paid off all of my debt last July, July 2022. And I became debt free. But this time last year, just a few maybe weeks shy of it, and on January 28th, I paid off my student loan. So I paid off $14,180 in 9 months. Yes, I went in, I let half, I did the thing, okay? And I just I went hard. Like I worked like I have never worked before. And that's what helped me to get through it so fast. But in my video that just premiered, I like really talk about my student loan journey. Yeah, I paid off $14,180, but I actually had more than that. That was forgiven through the Teach Grant. So if you don't know, if you're a teacher and you're watching this, yes, you can get your student loans forgiven. Certain teachers can, right? So if you work in a Title I school, so in like a lower SES area, Title I school, if you are science or math, or if you're SPED, special education. So I was special education, and I always worked in Title I schools. I just felt like, for me personally, like, as like I grew up in Title I schools, so to give back to the community, like, I would not want to work in any other school district or area, but a Title I school, because that is where the need is, especially for special education. That is where a lot of needs are, and I always sought out those schools, because I wanted to give back, and then of course I wanted to be rewarded for that, by having my student loans paid off. So if you are interested in that grant, they will pay up to 17.5. Not sure if that's increased or decreased, but you can check that out. It's called the Teach Grant. So if you are a teacher and you working in a Title I school, you a SPED teacher, you're STEM, any of those things, you might want to go and check that out. So in the video that just premiered, I talk about like my student loan journey, right? So I got a scholarship to go to undergrad for free, but it did not pay for the summers. So during the summer, I would take out a student loan. And but I kind of told myself, okay, like, I know that I'll be a teacher. I know that they will pay up to 17.5, so I need to make sure that my student loans stay under that, right? So I graduated, if not 17.5, probably somewhere under that. So, I was not paying on those student loans, just like everybody else when I graduated. Like, it was not a big deal. You graduate college, you trying to get your foot in the world. You ain't worried about paying nobody. You worried about making money. So I did not pay attention to those things at all. Of course, I can't even tell you like on what the interest was. Like, I literally have no clue. I'm sure that I can go look it up, but I'm not even sure like what the interest was. But I would pay here or there. I will always defer, not knowing, the interest is still building, not even understanding interest. Interest accrues daily on those loans. It's scary. Oh my gosh, just the thought of it. I'm like, Lord, interest accruing daily. Are you serious? That ought to be a crime. But interest was accruing, and your girl was not caring, because it just wasn't a priority for me at the time. Like, I just was like, listen, it's other things that I need to be worried about. So I graduated in 2013, paid on my student loans here or there. It was definitely not anything to do anything, as far as making a dent in it. I decided to go back to school in 2016, because I wanted to get my master's degree. And I already knew that student loans were not an option, because I already knew that I had student loans and your girl was not going to take on no more, right? So I actually went to graduate school for free as well, through another grant, a federal grant. And, they paid for everything except for fees, and I paid fees out of pocket. And but during the summers, during 2 of those summers, I took out a student loan because, well, that first year I had just moved to Miami and I was a teacher, so I had missed the cutoff to have my check, like money taken out of my check each month so that I could live off of during the summer, because I would always do that as a teacher. But I missed that cutoff, and then Miami was too expensive for that anyway. I needed all my coins. So I missed the cutoff, and I just decided, instead of getting a job, like, now that I think about it, like, girl, you lived in Miami. Like, literally, there's no excuse why you don't have a job in Miami. Like, there's things to do, right? There's, the party scene where you could, there's so many just entertainment style things to do. Of course, the morally based ones, right? But there's a lot of things that you can do there to make money, and legit, might I add. But I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to be out for the summer. How am I going to pay these bills? And so I took out a student loan. So those first 2 summers, I took out 5K. So that was a total of 10K on top of what I already had. So, you look up and like it was 30,000. I was like, oh my gosh. So I got to Texas. I moved to Texas in 2019. And I finally decided to put in my teacher grant paperwork, because now with the teacher grant, yeah, you have to be in STEM, SPED, and a Title I school. In addition to, you have to give 5 years, right? So I was a teacher for 5 years. So I was able to get that paperwork in. The first time it got denied, I was missing something. Second time it got denied, I was missing something. Third time it was a go. Third time was a charm, and they approved me for the full 17.5, which I knew that they would, because I knew that I had, met all the requirements. So that took my loans down to $14,180. Now this is when, and I probably did it at the right time. See, God is so good, because that's when COVID happened, and the pause on student loan interest was like zero, right? So my loans were at 14,180, and they were not accruing interest. So that was a perfect time for me to go ahead and put in that paperwork. So that's how I got like close to half forgiven then, but I was still left with that balance, right? So, and that's another thing too. Like, I noticed like people will get like certain types of student loan forgiveness, and they still be in like student loan debt, and that was me. So, in my debt snowball, my student loans did not come until the second to last thing. So I'm trying to think, what was before my student loans? Ooh, it feels so long ago. And I don't have my wallet in front of me. But I can't remember. So it was my student loans, and then the last thing was my car. So my car and student loans were like neck and neck. But the student loans were just probably like $100-ish more. I can't quite remember. But I decided to start paying them off. My student loan. So the 14,180 was a mixture of 6 different loans. So the loans range from, the smallest one was 1,000, probably like 1050. So 1,050, and then they would range from like 2 to 3, and then the biggest one was 5. So it took me like a month and a half each to pay off each student loan. During that time, y'all, listen, when I tell you I was working like, and I talk about this in a video, when I tell you I was working like I had 6 kids, the daddy was not around, the rent was due, we was behind, I only had $5 to make it to next week. That's how I was working. Like, I was not playing games. And this is one thing that you have to do when paying off debt. You cannot pay off debt on your 9 to 5, right? That is to maintain, like rent and things like that, and keep all your bills current. But most people cannot do that on their 9 to 5, unless they have just like a small amount of debt, or unless like they're making like a whole lot of money and they just need to manage it better. But for most people, like, you cannot get debt free on your 9 to 5. Like, yes, some of that will help, but where it really comes in is a side hustles. Like, you gotta be willing to pull on a second job, a third job, however many you can take. You have to be willing to do that. So that's the key in paying off any debt, but it definitely was the key in helping me to pay off my student loans. So, because I hear people talk about that all the time, like, oh, like, how am I working another job? I got this, I got that. But you listen, we got 24 hours in a day, right? So you have to, really prioritize your time with, okay, you can't do nothing during the 9 to 5, but what can you do once it's over? What can you do at 6 p.m. to 10 o'clock at night, especially during COVID? Like, I always wish that I would have started like during the height of COVID, when when food delivery went crazy, because I'm like, I was working from home. I could have been clocking in at the DoorDash or the Uber Eats as soon as I clocked out of my 9 to 5, and I really could have made some serious money and like paid it off like much faster. Like, during the height of the pandemic, like, the delivery drivers were making bank. So you really have to look at what can you do, because yeah, some people, it may be hard, to go from one job, to another, especially people with kids and things like that. But what can you do? Like, there are things in our country now that just make it easy to make money. So One of my side hustles was DoorDash and Uber Eats. So I would do DoorDash on the weekend. Sometimes I would do it after work. It really depended, but for the most part, I might do it on the weekends. I always prefer Uber Eats over DoorDash. Just a little tidbit, like the tips are better on Uber Eats. The people are just like nicer, and I'm sure like it, fluctuates, depending on where you were. Like I got more orders on DoorDash, but on Uber Eats, it was less orders but more money. So I really like Uber Eats better, but that's just a little plug with that. What else did I do? I am a licensed professional counselor associate who's under supervision. So I was able to start counseling people, and that became a source of income for me. So use the skills that you have. Like, what skills do you have that you could be making money off of? Especially, listen, I was a teacher. I'm always champion of my educators because, like, we have so many hidden talents. It's so much that you do in a classroom that is literally like 5 different jobs. And so I really maximize that. I started teaching classes. I love to teach. Always be an educator at heart. So I started teaching classes on different topics for women in transition. I did that. And it's important to know that I sought out these things. Like I remember like I looked at different places in my area and I just cold called them like, hey, could you use somebody who could teach, 1, 2, 3 to your residents? And of course there were a lot of no's, but guess what? I got a yes. And that yes, helped me to really, be able to not only pay off my debt, but to make a difference in the community as well by using skills that I already have. So, look at the place around you, look at your environment. Could this place use you talking about this or showing this? Don't be afraid to ask. The worst thing they can say is no, and you just go to the next person. So I did that. I got a job at the local community college where I was tutoring students, and I still have that job. I love that job. I'll probably keep that job for as long as they let me. It's basically a job where you tutor first generation students who are taking college classes, and I was always really good with writing. So I'm the English tutor. So I review essays and things like that. I was doing that Monday through Friday from 6 to 8. So that was a cute little $300, $400 check a month. So I did that. I sold things on Facebook Marketplace, things around the house, things that people gave me. And I made like a lot of money off that as well, put it all towards my debt. What else did I do? I feel like I'm missing something. I had my 9 to 5. I was counseling. I was teaching courses. I was doing Uber Eats, and I sold things. So, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but it'll come to me in a few. But I mean, I really maximize, what I could do. And that's the thing. Sometimes you got to be creative. Like sometimes I know for me, like what really helped to get my wheels turning was because I had done not food delivery, but I had done ride share in the past. I'm like, okay, I don't want people in my car, so I'll just do the food delivery. So I knew that I could do that. I started listening to the Ramsey show, and I would hear people talking about their side hustles, and I would always hear the teachers talking about tutoring. So that's how I sought that out. So sometimes it does take for you to really just start getting your wheels turning on what it is that you can do. Because sometimes it's not so apparent. I think for people, outside of education who can get overtime on their jobs, that's easy. But for us folks who work in education, child, that is not a thing. Ain't no overtime. Ain't none of that. So, you have to do that outside of the workday. But yeah, for folks who are in the medical field or people who just, work in fields where overtime, is a thing, maximize your overtime. You're only doing this for a short time. I only did this for 22 months. You can do anything for a short period of time. You can do anything for a year. You can do anything for a day. So you kind of got to have that mindset, I can do this for today. We'll worry about tomorrow when it comes. So it's important, to really just think about that. Like, what can I do and then reminding yourself that it is only for a short time. Like, I ain't doing that no more, y'all. Now I do still, I do still counsel, I do still tutor, and I like doing those things, but I don't do like the DoorDash anymore. I haven't sold anything in a little minute. Sometimes I just sell things because I just need to get rid of it. It's not really for debt anymore. But those things will fall off and you will get back to your normal regular self where it's 6 p.m. on a Saturday and you're not trying to hit the dinner rush for DoorDash. It'll all come back around. But that's how I was able to pay it off so quick. So when I would get those checks, I would put it straight away towards the debt. And sometimes, like, once you start like making money and it starts coming, so regularly, it does become like kind of hard, to be like, oh, like don't spend it, on silliness. But that goes back to your budget. So it's important for you to put every single dime towards paying off, in this case, my student loans. And I know for me, like, it became kind of fun for me. Like, as I would be working on that one loan and I'd be putting $100 this week, $250 next week, 400 on the first. Once you see that balance going down, it becomes like a game. Like, it seriously becomes like, what can I do to make some money? So that I can get this thing down. Like, it became fun for me. Of course, would I want to do it again? No. But at that moment, it was really fun. And just seeing that balance go down, seeing like your hard work be applied and knowing where it's going, like that is such a rewarding feeling. Because I remember working, so hard and not knowing like where my money would go and still being broke. But once you see your money going towards something that's going to better your future, like it will become addicting. Like you will go harder, you'll make more money than you ever thought you would. So that's my advice for anybody who is trying to pay off their student loans quick. You got to double up, triple up on the jobs. Like, don't be ashamed of working more than one job. Don't be ashamed of doing ride, share, or DoorDash. Like, yeah, I got a master's degree, and guess what? I was delivering food, because it was for a greater purpose. So, don't ever feel, because I feel like sometimes people try to shame DoorDash and like people doing stuff like that when, like, you know what, you probably need to be out here doing this too, okay? But don't ever feel bad like about stuff like that. It is literally a means to an end. It's a job. Ain't nothing wrong with honest work, okay? So don't feel bad about it. Get out there, hustle, and make it do what it do, because that's what I did. So yeah, that is how, and let me look at my notes, y'all, because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the chat so I can answer them. Now this is one thing that I brought up in my video, because in the video I talk about that I knew that I was going to be able to get this Teach grant, so I was just going to take out student loans to stay under that, and I was going to make it, would I recommend you taking out a student loan because that it's going to be paid back? No, I would not. That was not a good decision. That was not a smart decision. Yeah, I said that I was going to stay under 17.5. I was not accounting for all that interest, and I surely was not accounting that I was going to take out more later. It just becomes a pattern. It becomes a very unhealthy just way of viewing money. Oh, I'll make it back. Oh, I'll just, take out this amount and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it literally never works that way, okay? It is a trap. Don't do it. So, no, I would not recommend that you take out a student loan because it's going to be paid off. Like, girl, no, you don't. I didn't. And I was wrong as all heck. So, no, I would not recommend that, especially in today's day and age where, Mr. Biden has this plan, child. We ain't, really seen nothing from the plan yet. We've heard about it. We have, talked about it a whole lot. We're still talking about it today, but nothing has happened. And sometimes I'll hear like folks talking like that, oh, they gonna forgive them loans and blah, blah, blah. Like, you do not know that, okay? That you do not know that to be true. So no, I would not be banking on that, Mr. Biden is going to forgive these student loans, so I might as well take them out anyway. Like, that is not a good frame of thought. that is, really putting your trust in somebody else, and you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know anything yet, other than that the Supreme Court is going to start hearing this on the 28th. I wish I had my calendar in front of me. But that's not next week, is it? No, because this week is the 18th, so it's about 2 weeks away. About a week and a half, 2 weeks away. And we don't know what's going to happen. History is going to be made either way, right? So we're either going to know if the president has the power to do this, or if he doesn't. And the Supreme Court, the highest court in all the land, is going to make that very clear. So it's very, important for us to not put our hope in like something that may not be sound. Like, we don't know yet. And even if that does come about, that still would not be a good idea to take out something just because it's going to be forgiven. I wouldn't do it again. If I could go back, I would not have taken out student loans, period. But I would not, recommend that you be using that ideology, because we don't know what's going to happen. In addition to, or interest is a thing. I talked about that earlier. Interest accrues daily. So many people don't know that. I remember seeing, when I actually started looking at my student loans, because I know I wasn't the only one. I had looked at that thing. That was the last thing on my mind. I couldn't have told you the balance or none of that. I did not pay attention to that. But once I started paying it off, and I was really like engaged in it, like looking at that little meter every day, because mine had like a little circle like meter. And I remember at the bottom, it had a place that said, how much interest was accrued today. And that's when I was like, Lord, like, so that's how they get you. They make that thing accrues daily. Like, that's why it's so hard for some people to really just get ahead, because it's like you put in this much, but the interest is like all over the place. Like, you can't even catch it. It's like that whack-a-mole thing. Like, you trying to listen. No. So I would not recommend that you do that. Please don't do that. I think my advice to somebody who is a first generation college student, who feels, like, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do this? What I would tell myself, right? Is somebody who had a scholarship, but it didn't pay for the summers. What I would tell myself would be to budget your money, take what you can afford, look for scholarships, look for jobs that that may be willing to cover your school, and like that's some of the advice, or that's some of the advice that I would have told myself. Like, I worked all through college. I've been working for a long time, but I don't know why it wasn't in my brain to put the money that I was making towards like my school, because it was easier to take out a student loan, right? And it's so easy. It's so easy. They shove it down your throat. That's the first thing they trying to tell you about. And then the people who are telling you that are people who have student loans too. So it's almost like, well, that's just what everyone does. But no, it's not. And you don't have to fall, into that. So for me, just looking back at that, I most definitely would have been working some extra hours during the summer. And then I think students don't hear this enough, right? It is okay for you to start at the community college. Like, it is perfectly fine. I think the community college gets a bad rap. Oh, those aren't real teachers teaching, and you're not going to have the experience, and all of these other things. Listen, people from community colleges get degrees too, right? We're all working towards the same goal. When you go to your doctor and you got COVID, you broke your toe, you sprained your ankle, the last thing on your mind is where they got their degree from. The last thing on your mind is if you would be okay with if they took courses at the community college. You don't care. Nobody cares. All you know is that they got a degree and that they can help you to, fix your issue. And that's important. Out of all the jobs that I had, like, literally no one has asked me where I got my degree from. Of course, they verify transcripts, and that's the most important thing. Does that baby say conferred? Does it say that you had your bachelor of whatever? That is the most important thing, y'all. So don't get caught up in what the culture is telling us. You gotta go here because nobody's gonna respect your degree. your boss most likely, does not have what you have just thought up, um just just in your head, right? So be just aware of things like that, because yeah, the culture is really shoving that down our throats. It does not matter where you start, it don't matter how you start, all that matters is that you finished. So everybody's journey is different. If that means that you have to start at the community college level, that's perfectly fine, because that's much better than you having to pay off debt at the end, right? In addition to, many community colleges are now free in most states. So you can do those 2 years for free and they automatically transfer, because that was a thing back in the day too. People would take these courses because they were cheaper, but they would not transfer. So that's not a thing now in most states. They call them memos of understanding, MOUs, things like that. Basically, they have some type of policy in place that, hey, we have shook hands, community college and university, and we want to make sure that the students that we are giving you, that they will be able to transfer their credits fully. And then the university most times says, yeah, it will. And that's how that goes. So don't even get into all of that as well. The community college is fine. Or maybe you have to work. Maybe you're going to school but you're working every day. That's okay too. You just got to manage your time. These are all things that can be done. In addition to, I do have a playlist on Need Money for College, so please check out that playlist. It has so much information regarding how to get free money for college. I actually just did my refund video last week, so be sure to check that out as well. But don't give up. Don't feel like you have to give in to student loans. Don't feel like that this is the only option, because it's not. Especially in today's world, y'all, there are so many ways to skin a cat, as the old folks would say, but you got to look into those things, right? So that is my spiel for today, y'all. I'm going to be back live on Wednesday. If you haven't, be sure to check out that video, my 1 year student loan update. Check it out. No, your girl is not taking out any more student loans. That is a no, 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 heck no. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, pay off all the debt in 9 months. No, ma'am. So definitely be sure to check that video out. Y'all be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for your support. And I'm going to see y'all next time. I'm hungry, so I'm about to go eat my meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. Bye.